Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to Daily FX Analysis. Quick look at the economic calendar here, guys. Yesterday we only had the consumer conference coming out of Germany, which was a lot lower than forecast. And then we have GDP growth rate year-on-year final for the third quarter coming in at 6.8 in the UK, up 0.2 on forecast, which is good news. And then we wait to see what comes out of the United States. One other bit of good news seems to be coming out about Omicron is that now that Omicron is the biggest variant of COVID-19 in the UK, the numbers of people who are infected is the highest number at any time since the whole COVID-19 thing began, which sounds horrific, but those numbers aren't being reflected in hospitalizations, guys. Obviously, there are people getting very ill, there are people dying, and there are people getting hospitalized. But as a nation as a whole, considering the number of people who are being infected, the percentage of population being infected, we're not seeing that as hospitalizations, guys, which means that either because there's something like 80-odd% of UK populations at least been doubly jabbed, and a very, very high percentage of older generation has been triply jabbed, that obviously will have an effect on it. But it is also possible that Omicron just isn't as dangerous as the Delta version, guys. So let's keep an eye on that. The market responded tremendously yesterday. It's sometimes hard to pin down on what the market's reacting to, but potentially that data coming out of the UK could be part of it. Another part of it is the UK government, or the UK government and the US government coming out and saying they're not locking down for Christmas. And therefore that makes the market feel that things aren't going to be as bad as they possibly feared they were. So we get an oversell during the first few weeks of December, and now maybe we're getting a little bounce off that. It's still going to have headwinds. We've still got inflation, which is the biggest fear, but we'll see how things pan out during the year. But for now, that seems to be where we are, guys. So just a quick look at tomorrow as well. Core PCE price index and durable goods orders in the US. PCE price index, core, and then PCE. And then Michigan, I can never say that word, guys. Michigan, consumer sentiment final. And then Japan inflation. That's tomorrow, guys. I'll not do one on Christmas Eve. It's just too much to do on Christmas Eve, folks. So let's get over to the charts. There's been a lot of movement in the charts since yesterday. Just see if we can see any patterns in here, guys. Euro, nope. Aussie, New Zealand, Aussie, New Zealand, Aussie, New Zealand, and New Zealand. So the big movement seems to have been mainly on the New Zealand and the Aussie, guys. A little bit of movement on DXY. I did get into Euro USD short yesterday, and then it moved into the green, and I just didn't feel happy with it, so I closed it, which is kind of what's been going on with my currency trading recently, and I'm seriously considering whether I should continue currency trading or not, guys. For now, I will, because if the stock markets aren't moving and they become quite dead, then obviously you're looking for somewhere else on a daily basis to get some sort of action. So we'll see how that goes, but it does take up a lot of my time, considering that I haven't really been committed to currency trading recently. Okay, just a thought process. We'll see how that pans out. What we're in here is a little flat period as we had there. I do think the next one will be down. Not 100%, but 100% sure on that. but it just looks like stairs, guys, and we're in that period at the minute. It just looks like that's what it wants to do. If the stock markets don't have a major correction, then I could well see money coming out of the yen and continuing to drop. But I'm not going to nail anything to that just yet. But if we start to break this bottom and it starts to look like the structure's finishing, then I'd certainly consider trading the yen short. Yeah, possibly could start to go short soon, guys, if the good news continues on the stock markets. You'll probably get a bit of a drawdown today in the stock markets, by the way. Usually when you get a really big rally, you'll get a drawdown. DXY. Yeah, this little alarm has gone off, guys, but I wouldn't read too much into that because it dropped again since then. What I've been saying is, as usual, I like to see a half decent drawdown before getting committed to something. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got that, but remember that the trend is still up. But at the moment, if this were to draw down a little bit, all it would do is make me more enthusiastic about trading the dollar long. Euro US, well, you can see there, I'm glad I got out of it. Let me get into the 4-hour to see what we were drawing there, folks. Oh yeah. That's euro dollar short, in other words, dollar long. But we were kind of saying that wouldn't be surprised if we got another push up into this flat correction and maybe even break that top before it comes down. That may well be exaggerated there, guys. But you understand what I'm saying. Wouldn't be surprised if this pushed up, maybe even broke that top or touched it, and then off we go. So I'd be happier trading short from there than here. You can also see that that looks like it wants to do that. That doesn't mean I want to trade it long. It just means that it's not a time for me to trade it short. So why was I trading it yesterday? Well, in the 1-hour time scale, I was looking at it. It was starting to come off. And I just thought to myself, well, do you know what? If I don't get involved here, and it turns out that this is the time that it goes, I'm going to regret it. So I got involved. It dropped, started coming back up, and I just thought, no, this isn't the time. And I got out. Now it's come back up into there. Will it break out? I don't know. But what I'll do is I'll wait and see if it breaks out, and then I'll wait for my opportunity to trade it short. Pound USD, same thing. We're getting a boost up in the pound. Obviously, that move is to do with that GDP number, guys. I don't think it's enough to sustain it continually in that direction. So what we were looking for here was some sort of flat move. Do you remember back here, guys, we were saying this pair will probably run flat. Well, if you put this in the 4 hours, that's what it's been doing. It's come down, and now for the last month or so, it's been running flat. 16th of November through to the 20 odd of whatever it is today, 22nd of December. Sorry, this has more or less been flat, guys. Yes, that's the bottom of that move, but then that retraced to there. It came down, and it's busy retracing back up again. It's running flat, and at some point it'll drop, guys. Aussie US, same thing. We were looking for this to potentially do that. Therefore, from there, on the 4-hour time scale, if we go down to 1-hour time scale, that's going to look exaggerated, guys, but you understand what I'm saying. New Zealand, same thing. You're looking for this to push up a little bit. Let's get down to the 1 hour to see why that alarm went off there. Okay, it was a little dip yesterday, guys. It's pushing up today. So we did say we're looking for something like that, and then we'll see, do we trade the dollar short? Now, with this one, obviously the US is on the other side of the equation. Yet again, we were looking to see if it could drop a little bit. It looks at the moment like a really nice setup to break out long. But I'm not going to suddenly change my mind from one to the other. I'm looking for a certain thing in the dollar, and if I get it, then I'll trade. So, despite the fact that that looks like it should break out, I'll just hold my horses because down there would be a much nicer place to trade that from. Yes, Swiss. Now, that's possibly significant, guys, in that the dollar's pulling back against everything else. And in this case, there's a slight move down. Now, obviously, we're not going to overreact to that, but it's interesting because maybe it shows a little bit of weakness in the Swiss franc, which means that strength. Sorry, guys, this is the other way around. Yeah, so that is the dollar weakening. Okay, so there isn't anything new. And what we're looking for here doesn't mean we're going to get it, but that pretty much looks like a 5-wave down there, with this being some sort of convoluted flat correction. You would not be surprised if you got that before you got that. By the way, and I'll take that arrow off there because we're not suggesting that you trade it down. What we're suggesting is if it were to drop to there, that would be a nice place to think about trading it back up. Yes, Swedish krona. Same thing, guys. I'd prefer to see the dollar weakening a little bit before trying to trade it long. But of course, it could break out from here. But wouldn't you be happier trading it from there, or maybe even breaking that bottom? This is a flat correction, guys. If it came down again, or if you'd have got in from there, then at this juncture, you're thinking to yourself, well, do I put my stop to zero, or do I take that little bit of profit that you've made there, depending on your leverage, obviously, whether it's little or not, and your position size. But it shouldn't be a massive move unless you've been over leveraging or putting too much on. So if this were to drop again into this, then I'd be happier trying to trade it from down there. Obviously, you could look at that on a lower time scale and say, well, it's doing exactly the same thing. It's at the bottom of that little structure, so potentially that's the place to buy it. But I wouldn't go down into it that much unless you've got a strategy, which we've talked about quite a lot recently, which obviously means getting in now with the hope that it goes, but if it doesn't, you let it run and buy in again. And obviously, we then need low leverage, guys, and allow yourself space and time's what these things need, folks. Yet again, US yen, I don't know why it would drop, guys, but that would be the nice place to get involved. Is this actually is what I was thinking about when we were looking at the US Swiss. You see there, we got that little move there. But if you come over to here, we don't have that. We got a continuous push on up. Now, at the moment, that could well be a structure that's going to drop. But I wouldn't bet on that. In other words, I certainly wouldn't try and trade that, but I would hold my guns until it came down to there, or if it came down to there, then I'd look to trade it, guys. You just got to look at the structures, and everything needs to line up. Well, not everything's going to line up, guys, but you need as many things lining up as possible. And the biggest mistakes I've made over the years trading currency or trading anything, was ignoring the obvious. Now, there's several things here. For example, is that a head and shoulders? I don't trade head and shoulders. In other words, I'm not going to take that and go, hey, this is going short, let me trade it. But it's another little indication that you could possibly see this drop. But remember, trends in that direction. So if you let it drop, and then that would be the place to buy it from, in my opinion, guys. Gold, yeah, structure, it looks like it wants to break out there, guys. I mean, that's what we draw. You know, you go impulse correction. We've had a nice correction. Is the next move long? I'm not jumping into it. I'm trying to claw back the investments I put into gold earlier in the year because I jumped the gun, guys. And when you jump the gun, you have to sit and wait and wait and wait. Now, the idea that this is going to come off, I don't know that it is, guys, but I would certainly be a lot happier to trade silver long from there than to try and trade it long from here, there. By the way, I'm already in silver and I'm in the red. But if I were not in it, you could potentially try and trade up there and hold some just in case the stock market continues to run down, guys. I'm kind of getting the feeling that gold and silver, for the meantime anyway, have lost their luster. And the next time gold and silver will go long is whenever the market decides that cryptocurrencies aren't all that they're being led to believe. Whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know. But if that were to happen, that's when you would potentially see gold and silver going long, guys. Bitcoin, there's as many opinions out there as there are people, guys. What I would say is that, as I've been saying all along, right from up here when we were there, pretty sure it was around there, I was saying, guys, yes, that looks like it could go long, but on the higher time scale, you'd be looking for it to come much deeper, and potentially it's giving us, something that's looking like that. Now, I don't know if that's definitely what's happening, but there's a potential structure like that. Obvious if this drops and drops and drops and breaks down through there, then, well, I suppose even if it broke down through, you could bring that down, and you could bring this down, and it could still be a channel. But what I would say is, I certainly wouldn't try and buy into Bitcoin until it's got down to 40,000. There are people who are quoting it at 10,000 for all sorts of fundamental reasons. It's the old thing where you get an impulse and then you get a drop and then you get an impulse and it drops and then you get an impulse and it drops. And then at some point in the future, it starts to come up again. You see that over and over again. Guys, GameStop. Let's see if I can pull up the GameStop chart, guys. Hopefully, what I drew in GameStop a while back still there. It's not. I've taken it off. But do you remember this? Oh, there's it there. It's still there. Remember me talking about that, guys? Where I said when we got that and that, I said, well, the next move will be a drop and an up and it'll drop again, guys. Now, it's not exactly, but you can see the pattern, can't you? And therefore, listen, I wouldn't touch this with the barge pole, but the point I was making was there's the line that I put in and said that this would run like that. As it's turned out, you could potentially push it a little bit higher, but you can see that it hasn't gone to the moon as everyone was saying it was going to do. It's spiked ridiculously high, dropped again, spiked, dropped again, spiked, dropped again, and now it's kind of settling into potentially where it should be. I don't know. I haven't valued it. It's a lot higher than where it was way back down here, and a lot of people made money in there. But for everyone that made money in there, guys, there'll be 6 or 7 or 10 people that lost money because the big boys knew what they were doing. Well, have sold out up here, taken their profits, guys, and told everybody to hodl, isn't it? They say hodl. Oh, I found out what it meant. HODL. Yeah. Hold on till. No, hold on. Something. life, for dear life. Hold on for dear life. I don't know if that existed first, or and they added the words later, or maybe that's what it was. But anyway, I don't understand people coming up with new words for hold. Hold's what they really meant. Okay, so you can see what happened there. Now, I don't know if Bitcoin's going to do that, but potentially it could. It won't be exact, because obviously the first spike up in Bitcoin was like that, and then you'd something like that. Maybe you get another one like that, and then it comes off. But let's go back to Bitcoin and have a look and get up into daily time scale. It's not quite the same, guys, because you got a higher high. But if you go back over here, just to see there, up, drop down, up, drop down, up, drop down. And then we got this. So are we going to get a similar thing on a higher time scale, on a, not a higher time scale, on a higher scale? We have massive impulse drops, but a push up did break the top, which kind of puts that out. But is it going to bounce like this for a while before eventually maybe coming long or dying a death? Okay, I don't know the answer, guys, but I'm just trying to raise some questions. It isn't just about it's going to constantly go long. And maybe something similar with Ethereum. Interestingly, I came across a video last night on YouTube of Elon Musk saying exactly what I had said about Bitcoin yesterday. He was saying it is not a currency. It cannot be a currency. Too dear for exchange, etc., etc. And it will never be a currency. It'll maybe be a store of value, but at the minute it's too volatile to be a store of value. Okay, oil on the daily. Let's get down a little bit. Guys, can't see it going lower than here anytime soon. It's going to bounce around in here and give us a flat correction. It'll break out. Euro CAD. Yeah, what we said still holds true. I do think when the dollar starts going long, the euro will drop and this will come off, particularly if the oil price starts going up as well. Euro Oz, we said it would drop. It has dropped. Let's just zoom in a little bit. I suspect that will continue to drop. There was another little setup there. I'll just move this and then replace that with that. And you could potentially put another little alarm on there, but it's already gone. Euro New Zealand, same thing, guys. We said it would drop. It has dropped. Euro yen. Well, there's weakness in the yen, which means that Aussie and New Zealand yen will have made some nice moves. Euro Swiss. Now, I don't know if this is going to drop, guys, but I'm putting that there, that line in, just to give me heads up if it does move. Pound CAD, there's the pound pushed up. But yet again, guys, the reason it's pushed up is because of those good GDP figures and possibly the Omicron and the fact that the government's turned around and said they're not going to lock down, but they have brought restrictions in, but they're not locking everything down, guys. Pound Oz. Yeah, I listen. If I had to choose, I would say let's trade it short, but I don't have to. Therefore, I'm just going to leave it for the meantime. I'll leave that in, particularly since we have that. Now we've got a corrective structure. I'll leave that in as a balance to that, but I would also potentially try and trade that if and when it starts to drop. Pound New Zealand, same thing, looking for it to drop. Set the alarm off, but it's pulled back at the minute, guys. certainly trend has been like that. It looks like it's trying to push through, but I'm not so sure about the UK economy at the minute, folks. Remember, the UK still got Brexit's gone away because of Delta, or not Delta, because of because of COVID-19, but it's still there, guys, and it's still a drag in the UK economy. Pound Swiss, nice push up, guys. I'm not sure that I said, I've drawn that arrow in. I'm not so sure I was saying trade it down. I was saying that it possibly will go in that direction. But obviously there wasn't a setup for it. This potentially is a setup. It's come back up. If we're going to call that a flat, where it's going to go next, potentially down to there. I'm not trading it. I'm not going to trade it. I'm just giving you my thoughts of where it possibly can go. When I'm a little bit more sure of it, then yeah, I'll say, hey, trade that down. Yeah, potentially yet again, but we've got to keep in mind that the euro, I think, has got some more downside in it as well, so I wouldn't be too keen to trade that. Pound yen, well, that's taken off. That's the weakness in the yen. Am I wrong on this? Potentially, but I still wouldn't be trying to trade it against the pound. There are better things to trade it against, either the dollar when it starts to come long, or this next one, which I don't know yet, but I'm pretty sure will have a big move up. There you go, guys. Is that where it was? Yes, it must have been. I wouldn't have had the alarm there. This is what we've been calling for quite a few days. And I would say it's going to continue long. Obviously, you need to get into it somewhere, either down here somewhere or in there. That looks like a 5, guys. Therefore, wouldn't be surprised if you got a correction like that before it goes. Aussie, New Zealand, still running flat, but I do think the next move will be long. Let me pause you there. Okay, as I was saying, expecting that to go long, guys. Obviously, it could drop a little bit, but I think the trend's long now. Aussie Swiss, yep, there's our alarm. I think it'll push on up. Obviously, that was either the place to get in or down there. It's is it a 5 yet? Not sure. Well, let it consolidate a little bit, and then maybe look to trade it long. Look at how it moved over there, guys. It could end up moving like that for a little while. But the only reason it's going to come short is if the gold price goes long or money moves out of the stock market, which would also boost it, which would also boost the stock market or the gold price potentially. But at the moment, let's say at the moment, yesterday was risk on. Let's see if today's risk on. Or was yesterday just the Christmas bonus? Aussie CAD, well, it's continuing to push up. As you know, guys, I don't tend to know anything about this pair. I've never really researched it. They're both commodity driven currencies, so I find it difficult to predict. Swiss yen. Now, I don't know if we're going to get that, folks. The problem now is that this is at the upper end of this flat correction, and therefore it makes it difficult to get involved in it. If you got involved along here somewhere, get your stop to zero and see if this is a point that it breaks out. Does it end up giving them that type of cup and saucer? Is it cup and saucer? That cup look. Possibly. Possibly you'll get a structure like that. But for me, it's not. I'm not going to try and get involved in it, guys. Maybe I should have tried to get involved when it was down here. But as I say, the worry I had was that, there was something like that going on, which means that would have been the place to get involved. I don't know if we're going to get to there. CAD Swiss. Now, this is my old pal. We've had a bit of a breakout. Doesn't look much like a setup, but nonetheless, there's potential there. CAD yen, same thing. There's potential there, folks. New Zealand yen, well, there you go. New Zealand CAD, it's pushed on up there, guys, as well, but not. You see what this does? It just points again to that Aussie Swiss, Aussie yen, and New Zealand Swiss, New Zealand yen trades that we've been talking about, but I haven't got involved in. New Zealand Swiss, there it is again, guys. And ruble, let's just take that off again, guys. Okay, that'll do for today, folks. I'll speak to you all again. What's today? I'll probably, no, yeah, I might do one tomorrow. If not, it'll be after Christmas, guys. Okay, if I don't speak to you tomorrow, have a great Christmas, and I'll see you again on Monday or Tuesday next week, depending on what day. I think Christmas is Saturday, isn't it? And then Boxing Day is a big day for us, which would be Sunday. That's the day after Christmas. It's as big as Christmas. Pubs are open. Lots of football being played on Boxing Day. You go and see the relatives that you didn't see on Christmas Day, so it's a big day for us. Which means that potentially Monday will be a non-starter for me, because I do not consume alcohol on Christmas Day because of my mum to look after, drive her around different relatives. But Boxing Day is my day, so potentially Monday there'll not be any recording, folks. Okay, I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.